Jake Mitchell stared at his computer screen and rubbed his tired eyes. It was 3 in the morning on Mars, and he was the only person awake in the research station. He had been studying alien language patterns for 5 years now, but he had never actually met an alien. Nobody had. Sometimes he wondered if his entire career was just a waste of time. The research station was quiet and cold. Jake liked it that way. He was not good with people. He always said the wrong thing or stood too close or forgot to smile. But languages made sense to him. Patterns made sense. He could spend hours looking at symbols and sounds, trying to figure out how different minds might communicate. His coffee had gone cold when the alarm started screaming. Jake jumped so hard he knocked his cup over. Red lights flashed throughout the station. His computer screen switched to an emergency broadcast. Director Chen's face appeared and she looked terrified. "Everyone to the main hall immediately," she said. "This is not a drill. We have a situation." Jake's hands shook as he put on his jacket and ran down the corridor. Other researchers were stumbling out of their rooms half asleep and confused. Nobody knew what was happening. When Jake reached the main hall, he saw everyone crowded around the large windows that looked out over the red Martian landscape. There was a ship outside, but it was not a human ship. Jake had seen every type of spacecraft that Earth had ever built, and this was nothing like them. It looked alive somehow, with smooth curves and surfaces that seemed to glow with soft blue light. Patterns moved across its hull like waves on water. "Oh my God," someone whispered. "They're real." Jake felt like he could not breathe. After all these years of studying and hoping and wondering, aliens were actually here. They were real, and they were landing right outside his station. Director Chen tried to keep everyone calm, but her voice was shaking. "Stay back from the windows. We don't know what they want. Earth Command is sending instructions, but it will take 20 minutes for any message to reach us." The ship settled onto the ground with no sound at all. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the ship, and a ramp extended down to the Martian soil. Figures began to walk down the ramp. Jake pushed closer to the window. The aliens were tall and thin, with skin that looked like it was made of crystal or glass. The skin changed colors as they moved, shifting from blue to purple to green. Their eyes were large and silver, like mirrors that reflected everything around them. They wore clothes that seemed to be made of the same glowing material as their ship. One of them was clearly the leader. She wore more elaborate clothing and walked at the front of the group. Even from a distance, Jake could tell she carried herself like someone important, like someone who was used to being in charge. The aliens walked straight toward the station's main airlock. Director Chen grabbed her radio. "They're approaching the entrance." "What do we do?" There was no answer from Earth. They were on their own. The lead alien stopped at the airlock and seemed to study it for a moment. Then she touched the control panel with one long finger. The door opened. She had somehow understood human technology just by looking at it. Jake's heart pounded in his chest as the aliens entered the station. They moved through the corridors like they knew exactly where they were going. When they reached the main hall, everyone stepped back. The leader walked to the center of the room and looked around at all the frightened human faces. Then she spoke. Her voice was strange, with sounds that did not quite fit together in the way human voices did. But there was a device on her chest, and after a moment it began to translate her words into English. "I am Princess Zara of the Calethian Empire. We come in peace. We are looking for someone named Jake Mitchell." The room went completely silent. Everyone turned to look at Jake. He felt his face go red. His mouth was dry and he could not make any words come out. "How do you know his name?" Director Chen asked. She moved to stand between Jake and the aliens, trying to protect him. Princess Zara's crystalline skin shifted to a soft gold color. "We have been watching your world for some time. We detected something unusual, a signal we have never encountered before. It came from him." She pointed directly at Jake. Jake finally found his voice. "I don't understand. I didn't send any signal. I don't have any way to send messages into space." "Not that kind of signal," Zara said. She walked toward him and everyone moved out of her way. "It is difficult to explain in your language. It is something from your mind, your consciousness. My people can sense these things across great distances." She stopped right in front of Jake. Up close, she was even more beautiful and strange. Her silver eyes looked into his, and Jake felt like she could see everything inside his head. All his thoughts and fears and dreams. "I need to speak with you privately," Zara said. There is something you must know. Director Chen started to argue, but Jake held up his hand. It's okay. This is why I'm here, right? To make contact with aliens. To communicate. He tried to smile, but his face felt frozen. Zara led him to one of the small meeting rooms. Her guards waited outside. When the door closed, she sat down across from him. For a moment, she just looked at him, and her skin kept changing colors like she was nervous or uncertain. My people have a tradition, she finally said. It is very old and very sacred. We call it resonance pairing. It means that sometimes two minds fit together in a special way. They are compatible on the deepest level. Jake nodded slowly. Like soulmates? Perhaps. That is close enough. These pairings are rare. They happen once every few generations, and when they happen, they must be honored. The two people belong together. Jake felt cold fear starting to spread through his body. Why are you telling me this? Zara's skin turned dark blue, almost black. Because when we detected your signal, we ran every test we have. Every analysis. And there is no doubt about the results. She leaned forward and spoke very quietly. My people say you're mine now. Jake stood up so fast his chair fell over. What? No, that's impossible. I'm human. You're not. We're from different planets. Different species, I know, Zara said. She sounded tired and maybe a little sad. Do you think this is what I wanted? I am a princess. I have duties, plans. I was supposed to marry someone from one of the noble families, someone who could help my people. Instead, I am bonded to a human I have never met. Bonded. Jake's voice came out too high. We're not bonded. I didn't agree to anything. The bond exists whether you agree or not, Zara said. It is not something we choose. It is something we are. And now that I have met you, now that we are close to each other, it will only get stronger. Jake sat back down. His legs felt weak. What happens if I say no? If I refuse? Zara looked away. My people will be insulted. Deeply insulted. This bond is sacred to us. To reject it would be like spitting on everything we believe. It could create problems between our worlds. Are you threatening Earth? Jake asked. No, Zara said quickly. I am trying to explain. The Calithian Empire is powerful. We have been traveling the stars for 50,000 years. Earth is young, vulnerable. An alliance with us would protect you. But if you refuse the bond, there will be no alliance. My people will lose interest in your world. They will leave you alone. And if I accept? Zara turned back to look at him. Then you would come with me to my world, learn about my people, and after a time we would be formally bonded. Married in your terms, Earth would become part of the Calithian Empire as an allied world. Protected. Given access to our technology and knowledge. Jake put his head in his hands. This could not be real. This morning he had been worried about his coffee getting cold. Now an alien princess was telling him that the fate of Earth might depend on him agreeing to marry her. I need time, he said. I need to think. To talk to my people. You can have 1 month, Zara said. Come to my world. See what we have to offer. Learn about the bond. Then you can make your choice. But Jake, I need you to understand something important. What? I am not happy about this either. I do not know you. I do not love you. But I will do my duty for my people. The question is whether you will do the same for yours. She stood and walked to the door. Before she left, she looked back at him one more time. I will return in 24 hours for your answer. Choose carefully, Jake Mitchell. Both our worlds are watching. Then she was gone, and Jake was alone with the weight of an impossible decision. The spaceship was nothing like Jake had imagined. Inside, it looked more like a living thing than a machine. The walls had a soft texture and seemed to pulse with gentle light. When he touched one, it felt warm, almost like skin. It made him uncomfortable in a way he could not explain. Princess Zara had given him his own room for the journey. It was larger than his entire apartment back on Earth. The bed adjusted itself to his body shape. The walls could show any image he wanted. There was even a food system that created meals based on his thoughts. But Jake barely touched any of it. He spent most of his time sitting by the window watching the stars. He had said yes. Of course he had said yes. How could he say no when the future of Earth was at stake? Director Chen had cried when he told her. She said he was the bravest person she knew. Jake did not feel brave. He felt scared and alone and like he was making the biggest mistake of his life. Earth Command had agreed immediately. They saw it as a great opportunity. Access to alien technology, protection from threats they did not even know about yet. They told Jake he was a hero. They promised him medals and parades when he came home. If he came home. There was a knock on his door. Jake turned away from the window. "Come in." Zara entered, and her skin was a calm green color today. She had been visiting him every day during the journey, teaching him about her people. She was patient with his questions, but there was always a distance between them. Like she was doing a job she did not really want. "We will arrive at Caleth Prime tomorrow," she said. "I wanted to prepare you for what to expect." Jake nodded and sat down. Zara sat across from him, keeping that careful distance. "Not everyone is happy about our bond," she said. "There is a group called the Traditionalists. They believe that bonding with an alien weakens our people, makes us less pure. Their leader is High Chancellor Vorin. He will challenge you." "Challenge me how?" Jake asked. "There will be tests, trials to prove you are worthy of joining our society. They are designed for Calethians. You will find them very difficult." "Great," Jake said. He tried to smile, but it did not work. "Anything else I should know?" Zara's skin flickered to a darker color. "My father, the Emperor, is very ill. He has been sick for a long time. If he dies before we complete the bonding ceremony, things could become complicated. Vorin wants to take power. He sees this as his chance." "So I'm caught in the middle of your political problems," Jake said. "Yes," Zara said simply. "I am sorry. I did not choose this any more than you did." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Jake asked the question that had been bothering him since the beginning. "Can you feel it? This bond they talk about?" Zara looked surprised. "Yes, can you not?" "I don't know," Jake admitted. "Sometimes I think I feel something. Like there's a connection between us. But I can't tell if it's real or if I'm just imagining it because everyone says it should be there." "It is real," Zara said. "I can sense your emotions sometimes. Right now you are afraid, but also curious. You want to understand." "That's creepy," Jake said. For the first time, Zara almost smiled. "I suppose it is. I am sorry. I cannot help it. The bond grows stronger the more time we spend together." "What about you?" Jake asked. "What are you feeling?" Zara stood up and walked to the window. Her skin went through several colors before settling on a deep blue. "I am angry. I trained my whole life to be a good ruler, to make the right choices for my people, and now I'm tied to someone I did not choose, someone from a species we barely know. But I'm also curious about you. About humans. You think so differently from us." "It is strange. How do we think differently?" Jake asked. "Calethians value order and tradition. We do things the way they have always been done. We have evolved over millions of years to follow patterns. But humans are young, wild. You have only been civilized for a few thousand years. You change constantly. You break your own rules. You create new things just to see what happens. It is chaos. Is that a bad thing?" Jake asked. "I do not know yet," Zara said. The next morning, Jake woke to alarms again. But these were different from the emergency alarms on Mars. These were cheerful sounds like music. His room's walls changed to show a view outside the ship. Caleth Prime filled the window. Jake had never seen anything so beautiful. The planet glowed with colors that should not exist together. Cities floated in the air, connected by bridges made of pure light. Crystal towers reached up into the clouds. The sky itself seemed to sing with energy. Zara came to his room without knocking. "We are here." "Are you ready?" "No," Jake said honestly. "Good," Zara said. "If you felt ready, I would worry that you did not understand the situation." The ship landed in the capital city. Jake followed Zara down the ramp, and immediately he felt overwhelmed. Thousands of Calethians had gathered to see him. Their skin colors shifted and changed as they watched him walk past. Some showed welcoming golds and greens. Others flashed angry reds and blacks. Commander Lyra, the head of Zara's guard, stayed close to Jake. She was taller than Zara and moved like a fighter. Her skin stayed a neutral gray color, showing no emotion at all. "Do not be afraid," Lyra said quietly. "I will keep you safe." "Are they all here to see me?" Jake asked. "Yes. You are the first alien to ever set foot on Caleth Prime. You are making history." They were taken to the palace, which was even more impressive than the rest of the city. It seemed to be made entirely of crystal that caught and bent light in impossible ways. Inside, servants hurried around preparing rooms and bringing food. Everyone stared at Jake like he was some kind of strange animal. That evening, there was a formal dinner. Jake had to meet the imperial court. Zara helped him dress in clothes. that looked ridiculous but were apparently proper for the occasion. She taught him how to bow and what words to say. "Just remember," she said, "do not look directly at my father until he speaks to you first. Do not touch anyone, and whatever you do not mention death or endings. It is considered very bad luck." Jake's head was spinning with rules. "I'm going to mess this up." "Probably," Zara agreed, "but they will forgive you because you are alien. They do not expect you to understand our ways." The dinner was torture. Jake sat at a long table with dozens of important Calethians. Emperor Cathos sat at the head of the table. He looked old and tired, his crystalline skin dull and cracked, but his eyes were still sharp as he studied Jake. High Chancellor Vorin sat on the other side of the table. His skin was a dark, angry red. He watched Jake with obvious hatred. When he spoke, his voice was cold. "So this is the human that has captured our princess's bond. He looks weak, soft. I wonder how he will perform in the trials." "The trials are a formality," Zara said. "The bond has been confirmed. There is no need to prove anything." "The law says otherwise," Vorin replied. "Any outsider who wishes to join a royal family must pass the trials, even if that outsider is bonded. Or do you wish to ignore our laws, princess?" Emperor Cathos raised one hand, and everyone went quiet. "The Chancellor is correct. The law must be followed. Jake Mitchell will face the trials, but they will be adjusted for his human limitations. We must be fair." "Of course, my Emperor," Vorin said, but his smile said he was not planning to be fair at all. After dinner, Zara took Jake to see the city. They flew on a platform that had no visible means of staying in the air. Below them, the crystal towers glowed in the darkness. Calethians moved through the streets, their skin colors lighting up the night. "It is beautiful," Jake said. "Yes," Zara said, "but beauty can hide problems. My people have not had a real challenge in thousands of years. We are stagnant, dying slowly without even knowing it." "What do you mean?" "We do not create new art anymore. We just copy the old masters. We do not explore new ideas, we just repeat the old ones. Our population is shrinking. Calethians are living longer but having fewer children. In another 10,000 years, we might not exist at all." Jake looked at her in surprise. "Does anyone else see this?" "Some do. But most do not want to change. Change is frightening. It means giving up the old ways." "Is that why the bond chose me?" Jake asked. "Because I represent change?" Zara turned to look at him. Her skin shifted through several colors before settling on a soft purple. "Perhaps the bond is wise in ways we do not fully understand. Maybe it knows we need something different, something new." They stood together in silence, looking out over the ancient city. For the first time, Jake felt like maybe this bond was not just a political arrangement. Maybe it meant something more, something important. The next morning, Jake woke to find Commander Lyra waiting outside his room. Her skin was a dark, worried color. "We have a problem," she said. "Come with me, quickly." She led him through hidden corridors to a secure room. Inside, Zara was studying a holographic display. Her skin was almost black with anger. "Someone has been accessing restricted files," she said. "Historical records about the Vrexians, a species we encountered 10,000 years ago." "What happened to them?" Jake asked. Zara's skin got even darker. "We destroyed them, all of them. It was genocide. The worst thing my people have ever done. We erased them from existence because they refused to submit to the Empire. And someone is looking at those files now." "Yes, and they have been altered. Parts have been deleted. Someone is trying to hide something." "Who has access to these files?" Jake asked. Lyra answered. "Only the highest members of the government. The Emperor, the Princess, and the High Chancellor." They all looked at each other. The same thought was in everyone's mind. Vorin was planning something bad, and Jake had just walked right into the middle of it. Jake woke up in a cold cell. His head hurt and his mouth tasted like metal. For a moment he could not remember where he was or what had happened. Then it all came back. They had found the recording device that Earth Command had hidden on him. It was built into his jacket disguised as a button. Jake had not even known it was there. But Calathian security had found it during a routine scan. They said he was a spy, an enemy. They arrested him in the middle of the night and threw him into this cell before Zara could stop them. The walls were smooth and featureless. There was no window, no way to tell what time it was. Jake sat on the narrow bed and tried not to panic. He was alone on an alien world, accused of espionage, and nobody could help him. Hours passed. Maybe days. Jake could not tell. Guards brought him food and water but would not speak to him. He tried to explain that he did not know about the device, that Earth Command had planted it without telling him. But they just stared at him with their color-changing skin and walked away. Then, in what might have been the middle of the night, his cell door opened. Commander Lyra stepped inside. Her skin was a dark, urgent purple. "We need to go," she said quietly. Now, Jake stood up. "What's happening?" "I am getting you out. Princess Zara's orders. She cannot do it herself without causing a political crisis. But I can." "Why would you risk yourself for me?" Jake asked. "Because I have served Zara since we were children. I know her heart. She believes in the bond. And I believe in her." Lyra handed him a dark cloak. "Put this on. Stay quiet. Follow me exactly." They moved through the prison like shadows. Lyra had disabled the security system somehow. They passed other cells holding prisoners, but Jake did not look at them. He just focused on following Lyra's quick, silent steps. They emerged into the lower levels of the city, far below the beautiful crystal towers. Down here, everything was different. The walls were rough stone. The lights were dim. Calathians with dull, faded skin colors moved through narrow streets. This was where the poor lived, hidden from sight. Lyra led him to a small building that looked like it might collapse at any moment. Inside, several Calathians were waiting. One of them was young, with bright, eager colors flashing across his skin. "This is Rin," Lyra said. "He is a data specialist. He has been helping us investigate Vorin." Rin nodded at Jake. "The human who bonded with our princess. This is historic. Also very dangerous for you right now. What did you find out about Vorin?" Jake asked. Rin pulled up a holographic display. It showed ship movements and resource allocations. "Vorin has been building a secret fleet for the last 10 years. He has been taking military vessels out of official records and hiding them in deep space. We estimate he has at least 200 warships that nobody knows about." "Why would he need a secret fleet?" Jake asked. "For a coup," Lyra said. "He wants to overthrow the Emperor and take control of the Empire. But he needs an excuse, a reason to make people support him." Jake felt cold fear spreading through his chest. "And I'm that excuse. The alien spy who came to infiltrate the royal family." "Partly," Rin said, "but it is bigger than that. We found something else." He changed the display to show communication logs. "Vorin has been in contact with someone near Earth. He sent ships there 3 weeks ago." Jake grabbed Rin's arm. "What kind of ships? What are they going to do?" "Attack ships," Rin said quietly. "He is planning to destroy Earth, to prove that humans are dangerous and must be eliminated. And he will blame you for provoking the attack by spying on us." Jake's vision went dark around the edges. He could not breathe. When will they attack?" 48 hours, Rin said. "Maybe less." "We have to warn them," Jake said. "We have to send a message to Earth." "That is why we are here," Lyra said. "There is a communication relay station on the edge of the city. If we can get there, we can send a message that Vorin cannot block or trace, but it will be dangerous. His forces will be watching for us." "I don't care," Jake said. "Earth is my home. Those are my people. We have to try." The journey across the lower city was terrifying. They moved in small groups to avoid attention. Rin led them through forgotten tunnels and abandoned buildings. Twice they had to hide while Vorin's soldiers passed by, searching for them. Jake learned more about his companions as they traveled. Rin was from the lower city. He had taught himself to hack systems because he was angry about how his people were treated. Lyra had been a street fighter before Zara's father recruited her for the Royal Guard. They were both rebels in their own ways. "Why do you help me?" Jake asked Rin during a rest stop. "You don't know me." "Because Vorin represents everything wrong with our society," Rin said. "He wants to go back to the old ways. Conquest and domination. I want us to move forward, to change, and I think maybe humans can help us do that." "We're not that special," Jake said. "You are different," Rin said. "That makes you special. Calathians have been the same for thousands of years. We need different." They reached the relay station just before dawn. It was an old tower that rose above the lower city, connecting to the communication network that linked the entire empire. Rin worked quickly, his fingers moving over holographic controls. "I can get us into the system," he said. "But once I do, Varin will know where we are. We will have maybe 10 minutes before his soldiers arrive." "Do it," Jake said. Rin activated the system. Alarms immediately started going off across the city. Jake grabbed the communication device and recorded his message quickly. "Earth Command, this is Jake Mitchell. You are in danger. A Calithian attack force is approaching your position. They will arrive in less than 48 hours. Evacuate if you can. Prepare all defenses. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill." He sent the message on every frequency he could think of. He did not know if it would reach Earth in time, but he had to try. "They are coming," Lyra said. She stood by the window watching soldiers surround the tower. "We are trapped." Jake looked at his companions. They had risked everything to help him, to save Earth, and now they were going to be captured or killed because of him. "I'm sorry," he said. "This is my fault." "No," Lyra said. "This is Voran's fault. He chose this path. We just tried to stop him." The soldiers burst through the door. They surrounded Jake and his friends, weapons raised. A commander stepped forward, his skin a cold official gray. "You are under arrest for treason," he said. "All of you." But then something strange happened. The air in the room started to glow. Jake felt a pressure building inside his head, like someone was pushing against his thoughts. The soldiers stopped moving and looked confused. A voice spoke in Jake's mind. It was Zara's voice, but impossibly loud and clear. "I am here. I am with you." The glow got brighter. Jake realized it was coming from him, from his connection to Zara. The bond was active, more powerful than it had ever been before. And then Zara was there, appearing in the room like she had teleported. Her skin blazed with white light so bright it hurt to look at her. Her guards were with her, surrounding the enemy soldiers. "Stand down," Zara commanded. Her voice echoed with power. "These people are under my protection." The commander hesitated. "Princess, you do not have the authority to interfere with a military arrest." "I have all the authority I need," Zara said. She raised her hand, and suddenly every Calithian in the city could hear her voice in their minds. She was broadcasting to everyone at once. "My people, I have discovered a terrible truth. High Chancellor Voran is planning a coup. He has built a secret fleet. He is attacking innocent worlds. He is the traitor, not Jake Mitchell. I have proof." She shared everything. The files Rin had found, the evidence of Voran's conspiracy, the plans to destroy Earth. She opened her mind and showed them all of it. And because of the bond with Jake, the transmission was more powerful than anything a Calithian could do alone. Across the city, millions of Calithians felt the truth pour into their minds. They saw what Voran had done, what he planned to do, and they were horrified. The soldiers in the tower lowered their weapons. The commander's skin turned to a shocked yellow. "Is this true?" "Yes," Zara said. "And now we must stop him before he destroys Earth." Jake's message had reached Earth. Admiral Kate Morrison, the highest commander in Earth's defense force, received it with only 36 hours to prepare. It was not enough time. It would never be enough time. But she would try anyway. She called every ship, every station, every pilot who could fly. Earth had 47 military vessels. Against 200 Calithian warships, they had no chance. But Morrison knew humans well. They fought best when the odds were impossible. "All ships concentrate at these coordinates," she ordered. "We make our stand together. If they want Earth, they will have to go through us." On Kaleth Prime, Zara was making her own preparations. She had claimed emergency authority and taken command of the loyal fleet. 150 ships under her control. But she knew it might not be enough. Jake stood with her on the command deck of her flagship. Through the bond, he could feel her determination and fear. She was gambling everything on this moment. "Are you ready?" she asked him. "No," Jake said. "But let's go save my world anyway." The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. They raced across space, trying to reach Earth before Voran's forces could attack. But they did not know if they would arrive in time. Voran's ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel right on schedule. They appeared in Earth's orbit like a swarm of deadly insects. 200 massive warships, each one capable of destroying an entire city. Admiral Morrison watched them appear on her screens. Her heart sank. She had hoped Jake was wrong. She had hoped it was a mistake. But here they were, all ships, battle positions, she ordered. Her voice was calm, but inside she was screaming. This was it. This was how humanity ended. But then something impossible happened. More ships appeared. These ones were different. They positioned themselves between Earth and Voron's fleet. It was Zara's loyalist forces. Two Calithian fleets faced each other across the darkness of space. And caught in the middle was Earth, holding its breath and waiting to see if it would survive the day. The three fleets held their positions. Nobody moved. Nobody fired. The tension was so thick Jake felt like he could reach out and touch it. He stood on the command deck of Zara's flagship, watching the screens that showed all the ships spread across space. Voron's fleet outnumbered them. If fighting started, a lot of people were going to die. Human and Calithian both. Zara stood beside him, her skin flickering through different colors. She was trying to stay calm, but Jake could feel her worry through their bond. She had stopped Voron from attacking, but she had not won. Not yet. A communication channel opened. Voron's face appeared on the main screen. His skin was a dark, angry red. His eyes burned with hatred when he looked at Jake. "Princess Zara," he said. His voice was cold and formal. "You have committed treason by interfering with a legitimate military operation. Stand down immediately." "You are the traitor, Voron," Zara said. "I have shown the evidence to all our people. Everyone knows what you have done. You have lost." Voron smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "Have I? Look around you, princess. My fleet is larger than yours, and you cannot fire on fellow Calithians. If you do, you start a civil war that will tear our empire apart. You are too honorable for that." "Too weak." Jake felt Zara's anger spike through the bond. Voron was right. She could not attack her own people, even if they were following a traitor. It went against everything she believed in. "So here is what will happen," Voron continued. "You will withdraw your ships. I will destroy the human homeworld as planned, and then I will return to Calith Prime and take my rightful place as emperor. Your father is dying. You are discredited. The empire needs strong leadership." "No," Jake said. Everyone turned to look at him. He stepped forward, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might break his ribs. "There is another way." "The human speaks," Voron said mockingly. "What could you possibly offer that would change anything?" Jake took a deep breath. "Single combat. You and me. Ancient tradition. If I win, you surrender and face justice. If you win, Zara withdraws and you do whatever you want." The command deck went silent. Zara grabbed Jake's arm, her skin flashing to a terrified white. "No, Jake, you cannot. He will kill you, maybe," Jake said quietly, just to her. "But if I don't try, Earth dies anyway. This way, there is a chance." On the screen, Voron was laughing. "The human challenges me? This is perfect. Yes, I accept. Let all the galaxy watch as I prove that humans are weak, pathetic, unworthy of joining the Calithian Empire." They constructed an arena in space between the fleets. It was a transparent sphere held in place by energy fields. Inside, Jake and Voron would fight. Everyone would watch. The entire galaxy would see what happened. Zara and Lyra had 12 hours to prepare Jake. They took him to a training room on the ship. Zara's skin kept changing colors, showing all her emotions at once. "This is insane," she said. "Voron has been training for 300 years. He is one of the greatest warriors in the Empire. You are a linguist. You study words, not fighting." "I know," Jake said. "But I have something he doesn't have." "What?" Lyra asked. "I'm unpredictable. Calithians think in patterns. You train for specific moves and responses, but humans are chaotic. We improvise, we adapt. That's our strength." Zara shook her head. "That will not be enough against Voron's power." "Then we make him stronger," Lyra said. "Through the bond. Zara, you can share your psychic abilities with Jake. Amplify what he already has. It has never been done before, but the bond is strong enough." Zara looked uncertain. That could hurt him. The connection is not meant to carry that much power. "I'll risk it," Jake said. "Teach me. Show me how to use these abilities." They spent the next 12 hours training harder than Jake had ever trained in his life. Zara taught him to feel the psychic energy that Calithians used naturally. It was like learning to use a muscle he did not know he had. At first, nothing happened. Then slowly he started to feel it, a tingling in his mind, a sense of connection to everything around him. Lyra taught him basic combat moves, how to dodge, how to fall without getting hurt, how to make his body do what his mind wanted. Jake was clumsy at first, but he got better. Not good enough to beat Voron in a fair fight, but maybe good enough to survive long enough to try something else. When the time came, Jake put on the ceremonial combat suit they gave him. It was light and flexible, designed to protect without restricting movement. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. Was he really about to fight an alien warrior in front of the entire galaxy? Zara came to his room before he left. Her skin was a soft blue, showing sadness and fear. "I am sorry," she said. "I am sorry that the bond brought you into this. I am sorry that you have to risk your life for a world that is not even yours." "Earth is my world," Jake said, "and you are part of it now, through the bond. That makes your people my people too." Zara stepped closer. She reached out and touched his face gently. Her crystalline skin was warm against his. "Win or lose, you have already proven yourself worthy. You are braver than any Calithian I know." Jake wanted to say something meaningful, something brave and inspiring, but all he could manage was, "I'm terrified." "Good," Zara said. "Fear will keep you alive, now go. And remember that I am with you. Always. Through the bond." The arena was massive. Jake floated in the center of it, held in place by the same energy fields that created the sphere. All around him, through the transparent walls, he could see the ships, human and Calithian both, watching and waiting. Vorin entered from the opposite side. He was huge, much bigger than Jake had realized. His skin was pure black, showing no emotion at all. His eyes glowed with psychic power. He looked like a god of war. A voice spoke through the arena, announcing the rules. The combat would continue until one fighter surrendered or was unable to continue. All abilities were allowed. There were no other rules. The signal sounded. The fight began. Vorin attacked immediately. He threw psychic force at Jake like a hammer. Jake felt it coming through his new senses and barely dodged. The energy blast passed where his head had been a second before. Vorin was on him in an instant, moving faster than should be possible. He grabbed Jake and threw him across the arena. Jake hit the energy wall and bounced back, gasping for air. Pain exploded through his shoulder. "Is this all you have?" Vorin taunted. "Is this what the Great Bond chose? A weak, pathetic creature who cannot even stand up to a real warrior." Jake struggled to his feet. He reached out through the bond, pulling on Zara's strength. He felt her respond, pouring energy into him. The connection blazed between them. Vorin attacked again, but this time Jake was ready. He used the psychic abilities Zara had taught him, pushing back against Vorin's assault. It was not much, but it was enough to keep him from being crushed. The fight became brutal. Vorin used every technique he had learned over 3 centuries. He was stronger, faster, more experienced. But Jake did something Vorin did not expect. He refused to fight the way Calithians fought. When Vorin expected him to block, Jake dodged. When Vorin expected a psychic counterattack, Jake went physical. When Vorin set up a pattern, Jake broke it. He fought like a human, chaotic and unpredictable. It was not enough to win, but it was enough to survive, to frustrate Vorin, to make the warrior angry. Vorin's skin turned a deep, furious red. "Stop running, coward. Face me properly." Jake was bleeding and exhausted. His body hurt everywhere, but he managed to smile. "This is me facing you. You just don't like it because you can't predict what I'll do next." Vorin roared and launched his most powerful attack yet. He sent psychic energy directly into Jake's mind, trying to break him from the inside. Jake felt memories being ripped out of him, fears being amplified. Vorin was showing him visions of Earth burning, of everyone he loved dying. But Jake realized something. Vorin was making a mistake. He was opening a connection between their minds. And connections went both ways. Jake stopped resisting. Instead, he opened himself completely. He let Vorin see everything. His memories of Earth, the beauty and pain of human history, the art, the music, the stories, the way humans loved and fought and never gave up no matter how bad things got. And through the bond with Zara, he amplified it. He made it stronger than any psychic attack Vorin had ever faced. Because it was not an attack. It was truth. It was everything that made humanity human. Vorin staggered back. His skin flickered through colors wildly. He tried to close his mind, but it was too late. He was overwhelmed by human emotion, human passion, human hope. Things he had closed himself off from centuries ago. Jake pushed harder. He showed Voren what it meant to be human. To be flawed and make mistakes and still try to be better. To fail and get back up. To be afraid and be brave anyway. Voren fell to his knees. His psychic defenses shattered. He screamed, but it was not a scream of pain. It was a scream of someone who had been alone for too long and suddenly felt the weight of connection. Jake collapsed too, exhausted. The arena was silent. Everyone watching held their breath. Slowly, Voren stood up. His skin was gray, showing shame and defeat. He looked at Jake with new eyes. Eyes that saw clearly for the first time in centuries. "I surrender," Voren said quietly. "I was wrong. About humans. About everything." The announcement went out across all the fleets. Voren had surrendered. The challenge was over. Jake had won. Voren's ships powered down their weapons. Slowly, one by one, they acknowledged Zara's authority. The coup was over before it really began. Jake was brought back to Zara's ship. Medical staff rushed to help him. He had broken bones and torn muscles. His mind was burned out from the psychic effort. But he was alive. And Earth was safe. Zara stayed by his side while they healed him. Through the bond, he could feel her pride and relief and something else. Something that felt like the beginning of real love. "You did it," she said. "You saved both our worlds." "We did it," Jake corrected. "I could not have done it without you, without the bond." Zara smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. Perhaps the bond knew what it was doing after all. But their peace did not last long. A few days later, as Jake was recovering, a new message arrived. It came from the edge of known space, from a people everyone thought were extinct. The Vrexians were alive and they were coming. The message from the Vrexians changed everything. They had been hiding and building their strength for 10,000 years. Now they were ready to return. And they wanted justice. Jake stood in the Imperial Council chamber on Calith Prime. Emperor Kathos was finally well enough to attend meetings again. The old emperor looked tired but alert as he read the Vrexian demands. "They want territory," Kathos said, "reparations for the genocide, and they want trials for those whose ancestors participated in the destruction of their world." The council chamber erupted in angry voices. Calethian nobles shouted over each other. Some said the demands were reasonable. Others said they would never bow to a species that should have stayed extinct. Zara stood up and her skin blazed with commanding gold. "Silence. We will hear what Jake Mitchell has to say. He has proven himself wise in matters of conflict and peace." Everyone turned to look at Jake. He felt his face get hot. He was still just a linguist from Mars. What did he know about intergalactic politics? But then he thought about human history. Earth had faced these same problems over and over. Different groups trying to address past wrongs, struggling to find justice without vengeance. "On Earth," Jake began slowly, "we have learned something important. You cannot change the past, but you can acknowledge it, honor those who suffered, and make sure it never happens again." "The Vrexians want revenge," one of the nobles said. "They want to see us punished." "Maybe some of them do," Jake said. "But most people do not want revenge. They want to be heard, to be seen, to know that their pain mattered." Emperor Kathos nodded slowly. "The human speaks wisdom. We will agree to meet with the Vrexians, to hear what they truly want, and Jake Mitchell will serve as mediator, since he is neutral to both our peoples." The negotiations took place on a neutral station between territories. Jake met the Vrexian delegation for the first time. They were different from Calethians. Where Calethians were graceful and crystalline, Vrexians were solid and powerful. Their skin was scaled like armor. Their eyes were sharp and intelligent. The leader of their delegation was named Kesh. He was old, older even than Emperor Kathos. He had lost family in the genocide. But when he looked at Jake, there was curiosity in his eyes, not hatred. "You are the human who bonded with the Calethian princess," Kesh said. "The one who defeated Voren. We have heard the stories." "Stories always make things sound better than they really were," Jake said. Kesh smiled. It was a frightening expression on his armored face. "I think I like you, human. You do not pretend to be something you are not. The negotiations were difficult. Both sides had legitimate grievances. The Calithians could not undo the genocide. The Vrexians could not forget it. They argued for weeks. Jake listened to both sides. He learned about Vrexian culture. They valued memory above all else. They believed that as long as the dead were remembered, they were not truly gone. The genocide had tried to erase them from history. That was the deepest wound. What if we build something? Jake suggested one day. A memorial. A library. A place that holds the history of the Vrexian people. Everything that was almost lost. Make sure it can never be forgotten. Kesh looked thoughtful. A memorial is not enough. We want our place in the galaxy restored. We want to be part of the community of worlds again. Then we reform the Galactic Council, Jake said. Not just Calithians making decisions for everyone. A real council with representatives from all species. Vrexians, Calithians, humans, everyone gets a voice. It was Ambassador Lisa Grant from Earth who helped make it work. She arrived at the negotiations with a team of human diplomats. They had experience with peace processes and reconciliation. They knew how to bridge gaps between enemies. We have made every mistake you can imagine, Grant told the assembled delegates. Wars, genocides, terrible things. But we have also learned how to heal. How to move forward. Let us share that knowledge with you. Slowly, an agreement took shape. The Calethian Empire would acknowledge the genocide publicly. They would provide resources for Vrexian rebuilding. They would create a memorial that honored those who died. And they would join a new galactic council where all voices were equal. But not everyone wanted peace. Jake discovered evidence that some Vrexians had been secretly working with Vorin. They had helped fund his coup, hoping it would lead to war. They wanted revenge, not reconciliation. Jake brought the evidence to Kesh. Some of your people were involved in the plot to destroy Earth. They wanted the Calithians and humans to go to war. They thought it would weaken the Empire and give you a chance to attack. Kesh's face hardened. I feared this. There are some among us who can never let go of their anger, who see violence as the only answer. What will you do? Jake asked. What must be done? Kesh said. Justice applies to all, even my own people. Together they exposed the extremists on both sides, Calithians who still believed in domination, Vrexians who wanted only revenge. It was painful to admit that both civilizations had members who preferred conflict to peace. But it was necessary. The final agreement was signed 6 months after the first contact. Representatives from Earth, Caleth Prime, and the Vrexian homeworld gathered at a newly constructed neutral station. They called it Unity Station. The ceremony was broadcast across all 3 worlds. Emperor Kathos, looking stronger than he had in years, spoke first. He acknowledged the genocide. He spoke the names of Vrexian worlds that had been destroyed. He said the words that mattered most. We were wrong. We are sorry. We will do better. Kesh spoke next. He talked about memory and forgiveness, about how his people had survived against impossible odds, and how they chose to build a future instead of dwelling in the past. Ambassador Grant spoke for Earth. She talked about humanity's place in this new galactic community, about what young species could offer to ancient ones. Fresh perspectives, new ideas, hope, and then it was Jake's turn. He had not wanted to speak. He still felt like an awkward linguist who had stumbled into history. But Zara had insisted. You are the bridge between all of us, she had said. Your voice matters. Jake stepped up to the podium and looked out at the cameras. Billions of beings across 3 worlds were watching. He took a deep breath. I am not a hero, he said. I am just someone who was in the right place at the right time. Or maybe the wrong place at the wrong time. I am not sure which. But I have learned something important these past months. We are all different, humans, Calithians, Vrexians. We think differently. We look different. We have different histories and cultures, but we all want the same basic things. To be safe, to be respected, to have a future for our children, to be remembered when we are gone. The bond that tied me to Princess Zara was not something I chose. At first I resented it, but now I understand. Connection is not a weakness. It is our greatest strength. When we open ourselves to others, when we try to understand instead of judge, we all become stronger. So I challenge all of us here today. Human, Calithian, Vrexian. Choose connection over isolation. Choose understanding over fear. Choose to build something new together instead of clinging to old hatreds. That is how we survive. That is how we grow. When he finished, there was silence. Then slowly applause began. It spread through the station and out across the broadcasts to all three worlds. It was not just polite clapping. It was genuine appreciation. Hope. After the ceremony, Jake and Zara walked through Unity Station together. They looked out through the large windows at the ships gathered outside. Human vessels with their practical designs, Calithian ships with their organic beauty, Vrexian warships with their imposing power. All of them together. "We did it," Zara said. Her skin was a peaceful blue-green. "We actually did it." "It is just the beginning," Jake said. "There will be more problems. More conflicts. Change is hard." "Yes," Zara agreed. "But we will face them together." "Through the bond." Jake smiled. "The bond. You know, I hated it at first. Being told that you were mine. That I was yours. It felt like losing my freedom." "And now?" Zara asked. "Now I understand. The bond did not take away my choice. It just showed me possibilities I never would have seen otherwise. I chose you, Zara, not because I had to, but because I wanted to." Zara's skin turned a warm gold. "I chose you too. Even though you are strange and unpredictable and nothing like what I expected." "Is that a compliment?" Jake asked. "Yes," Zara said. "Strange and unpredictable is exactly what we needed." A week later, they held the formal bonding ceremony. It was a blend of human and Calithian traditions, with Vrexian representatives present as honored guests. Jake wore clothes from all three cultures. Zara's skin cycled through every color in celebration. Commander Lyra stood as Zara's honor guard. Rin was there, grinning and recording everything on multiple devices. Kesh attended as representative of the Vrexian people. Ambassador Grant stood for Earth and humanity. When the ceremony was complete, when Jake and Zara were officially bonded, a cheer went up from the assembled guests. It echoed through the station and out into space. That night, as they stood together looking at the stars, Zara asked Jake a question. "Do you ever regret it, saying yes that first day on Mars?" Jake thought about everything that had happened. The fear, the danger, the pain, but also the wonder, the growth, the love. "No," he said. "I do not regret it. Not anymore. Years passed. Jake and Zara split their time between Kaleth Prime, Earth, and Unity Station. They became ambassadors and mediators, helping other species navigate the complicated process of joining the Galactic Council. Earth flourished in the new alliance. Human creativity and adaptability became valuable throughout the galaxy. Human artists, scientists, and teachers spread to other worlds. They brought their unique perspective everywhere they went. The Calithian Empire transformed too. Inspired by human culture, young Calithians started questioning old traditions, creating new art, exploring new ideas. The stagnation that Zara had feared began to reverse. The Vrexians rebuilt their civilization. But this time they built it on a foundation of memory and hope instead of revenge. They created beautiful cities that honored their past while reaching toward their future. Jake often thought about that first moment when Zara sat beside him and said those strange words. "My people say you're mine now." At the time, it had terrified him. It had felt like his life was ending. But now he understood. It had not been an ending. It had been a beginning, the start of something bigger than himself, bigger than any one person or species. 10 years after the first contact, Jake and Zara stood on the observation deck of Unity Station. They watched as the first class graduated from the new Interspecies Academy. Young people from all three worlds had studied together, learning from each other. Among the graduates was Maya, Jake, and Zara's daughter. She was the first human Calithian hybrid. Her skin could change colors like her mother's, but her thoughts were as chaotic and creative as her father's. She was perfect. Maya ran over to them after the ceremony, her skin flashing with excited yellows and golds. "Did you see? I graduated top of my class in xenolinguistics. We are very proud," Zara said. "Like father, like daughter," Jake added with a smile. Maya hugged them both. "I want to be like both of you. A bridge between worlds. Is that okay?" "It is more than okay," Jake said. "It is everything we could hope for." As Maya ran off to celebrate with her friends, Jake and Zara stood together in comfortable silence. Through their bond, they shared the same thought. This was what they had fought for. This moment. This future. New signals were arriving from unexplored regions of space, other civilizations reaching out. The galaxy was bigger than anyone had imagined. There would be more challenges, more conflicts, more opportunities to build bridges or walls. But humanity had proven something important. They had shown that being young and inexperienced was not a weakness. That thinking differently could be a strength. That connection and empathy could change the galaxy. Jake looked at Zara. Her skin was a content, peaceful purple. "Are you ready for whatever comes next?" Zara smiled and took his hand. "With you? Always." And so they stood together watching the stars, knowing that somewhere out there new adventures waited. New species to meet, new problems to solve, new connections to forge. The bond had brought them together. But it was their choice to stay together, to build something beautiful and strange and unprecedented. The alien princess had sat beside the human linguist and murmured words that changed everything. Now, years later, they sat beside each other as equals, as partners. As proof that the impossible could become real, the galaxy was watching. Humanity was ready. And Jake Mitchell, the awkward linguist from Mars who never expected to be special, had helped show the universe what humans could do when given the chance. They could adapt. They could connect. They could hope. And sometimes that was enough to change everything.